These atheists nowadays, the reason they're getting all uppity is because, you know, what it is they think that Christians are just going to roll over and take it for them. But if somebody's acting foolish, call them on it.
Today, we will be persecuting someone of far greater stature than anyone I have previously persecuted. It is none other than one Rich Pinkowski, the founder of Warriors for Christ Church, not to be confused with countless other Warriors for Christ organizations. It will make this video run a little bit long, but we simply must read some of his wondrous qualifications. As we see on this screenshot, Rich, quote, is a modern-day apostle and prophet to the nations, unquote. Now that is impressive sounding. It doesn't end there. He received a full scholarship to the International Miracle Institute of Pensacola, Florida. Oh, how I stand in awe. Just look at this fine institute. One has to take 4 entire courses to get a bachelor's degree. So you know it is a quality education. I am extremely remiss that I will not be able to take Course 3, which includes, quote, powerful teachings on prayer, the indwelling, biblical economics, the activity of angels, possessing supernatural power, and more, unquote. While I am weeping over my not getting this fine education, let's hear from the apostle man, prophet person himself, Rich Pinkowski.
Some of these atheists, and that the fact is that they really do believe in God, okay? They're just angry with him. It's, well, you know, God created Lucifer, and Lucifer did it, so it is God's quid pro quo, you know, it's God's fault.
Quid pro quo, it's God's fault. Quid pro quo. What? But he is correct. I admit it. I am angry with God for creating Lucifer. In fact, I am always angry when one fictional character creates another fictional character. No good can come from it. It is best to leave character creation in the hands of skilled writers.
So many people are not equipped enough to handle these arguments. They don't know how to, you know, when these atheists come on and say, oh, well, you know, prove to me God exists. Okay, fine. I see creation happen all the time. I watched every single one of my children be born. I watched life create. I've watched things be created. I've never seen anything evolve. This is what they do. You want to prove there's a God? Go look in the mirror because you look like him. The very fact that you're living, breathing, talking, etc. is proof of God.
Well, being an atheist, I have just been destroyed. There's no disputing it any longer. Humans create gods in their own image. So naturally we see the image of God in our mirrors. Ergo, gods exist. Or should that be quid pro quo gods exist? And if that weren't bad enough, we atheists were all exposed when this apostle person failed to see happen to a single individual what can only be seen in entire populations over the course of many generations. Indeed, that most assuredly exposed us.
You know, but see, honesty when it comes to an atheist means you can't be an atheist. Because being an atheist, everything's got to be dishonest. Okay? Because to be honest, you'd have to admit that half what you believe is wrong. For instance, the Big Bang Theory. They believe a Big Bang happened 10 million years ago. But creation 6,000 years ago is out of the question. Well, how do you know? Was there an eyewitness to the Big Bang Theory? Can you reproduce the results? Doesn't it violate the law of thermodynamics? It's faith. You base this on an assumption. It's all about faith. So atheists have faith as well, just in something different.
Oh, the painful penitence. Powerful Pinkowski prophet person persistently publicizes our prevarications. This saint shows our sinful souls shamelessly submitting and succumbing to science's seductions. Ah, absolute anguish. Assuredly, all atheists are annihilated.
The love of Christ is sacrificial. And atheists need that. Okay, you're talking about a proud, puffed up lot who hates the gospel. Why should you water things down to appease people who hate you and hate the gospel? They hate it.
I don't hate Christians, but I admit I do hate extremists and do hate bigots. As for the gospel, of course I hate it. It teaches that killing the innocent justly allows the guilty to be forgiven with nothing more than a prayer and maybe getting a ritual bath, without even the pretense of making amends to those they have harmed. Moreover, it teaches that everyone that doesn't accept this slaughter the innocent that the guilty may go free doctrine will be tortured in hell forever. Yes, I do indeed hate the gospel, because I have seen the harm it does to people. Next, by no surprise whatsoever, we have a series of clips where Rich, the ever-so-humble modern-day apostle and prophet to the nations, discusses the LGBT+ community. First up, Preacher Boy tells us why he is unjustly called a homophobe.
And again, it's a way to silence you. These people are using the word hate as if simply saying the word snowflake means you're hateful. Simply saying, listen, two men that sleep together it's wrong, it's sin. Somehow that makes you unloving, unkind, intolerant, and unjust. You know, most atheists, and here's a touchy subject, I know some people, and there's a lot of Christians that support homosexuality, but let me tell you something. Homosexuality itself defies and goes against nature. Why? When they say, well, you know, animals, there's been over 500 documented species of animals that have sex. That's a lie. They display homosexual acts, but that does not make them gay. Any pro-gay person that comes on here, whether it's Christian or atheist that comes on here and says that homosexuality is natural, animals do it, say, oh, so you're saying gays are animals. You're debasing the human person to an animal. You're saying that this person is no better than an animal who, maybe I should go to your neighbor's lawn and just take a dump on your neighbor's lawn. That's what animals do. Maybe I should go there, you know, kill your children and take your wife because that's what animals do.
Rich, you are saying that you are not an animal. Very well, I reluctantly accept that you are a slime mold. Next up, Prophet Boy demonstrates the Dunning-Kruger effect for us.
So that brings us to the LGBT argument. One of the arguments we've laid out is that homosexuality, lesbianism, transgender, whatever you want to call it, it actually defies the very purpose of evolution. Because evolution would say homosexual lesbians would die out. Evolution would be trying to get rid of them because they can't keep the species going. Okay? So that means that they are against nature. When you go at them with this stuff, it turns into the whole, you're stupid, you don't understand evolution. No, dummy. Actually, we understand a lot better than you. You're just mad because you can't comprehend it, and you can't find your way out of your own argument.
Now there is an argument that would make a straw man blush. I usually don't debate evolutionary theory with creationists for the same reason that I won't debate the existence of the Easter Bunny with them. But I will this time. 1. Evolution doesn't try to do anything whatsoever. 2. Not all phenotypic traits are fully produced by genes. Environmental conditions also contribute to the development of the embryo. And there are other factors that affect an individual's phenotype. 3. Traits that occur for reasons that are not transmittable to subsequent generations cannot be selected or deselected. 4. While there is no scientific consensus on the reasons why some people are gay, it would appear to be not due to a single gene or even a single cause. As such, it is quite unlikely homosexuality could be negatively selected. 5. People who are gay are quite capable of, and often do, reproduce. 6. And my most important point, even if homosexuality were freely chosen, it is none of his goddamn business. Besides, being gay is a good thing. After all, it is heterosexuality, not homosexuality, that leads to the vast majority of teen pregnancies, so I guess that means we should keep our teens from being recruited into the heterosexual lifestyle.
Now they'll come on here and they'll say, well, you know, Christians are, you know, more wars are started in the name of religion and else. That's another lie. One easily disproven if they actually did their homework, and all you have to do is go look up the Encyclopedia of Wars. Did you guys know that wars in history, every single documented war in history, that religion is the least cause of war? That secular humanists are responsible for more bloodshed in the world, in history, than any other group in the world? Did you know that? And yet atheists will come on and talk about religion kills, religion kills. Really? Atheism kills a lot more. Oh, no one kills in the name of atheism. Yes, they do. That's why they try to wipe out the religious. Because they don't like religion, so they're killing them in the name of their atheism.
I must have missed the news report on the rampaging mobs of atheists exterminating believers, but I did look up this Encyclopedia of Wars, of which our prophet prodigy speaks. It is listed number 2,387,402 on Amazon.com's bestsellers ranking. That is a much lower ranking than The Secret Weapon of Masturbation, which is number 818,854. Strangely, I could not find a single reference to Encyclopedia of Wars on any .edu website, other than a half-dozen universities stating they have a copy of it in their library. So its academic impact is, well, non-existent.
So when you're talking to an atheist, you can fairly say, if apes and human beings are still living together right now, evolution cannot be true. And they'll jump on you and say, that's not true, come a common ancestor. Let them say that. Let them get themselves puffed up. Let them get themselves into a position where they think they're all wise and they got you. And then hit them with the truth and say, you're right. You believe that man and chimp, ape, evolved from a common ancestor. That this ancestor evolved into two different species. Okay? Now, if that's true, evolution is what? Propagation of the species, the strong survive, which means that human and chimp would be competing for natural resources, for food, and for everything else, which means one of us would have had to have died according to the law of evolutionary theory. We'd be competing. One of us would have to go.
They weren't competing because they did not live in the same place. Besides, competition does not mean that one dies out. Unless one group ate all of the food, leaving nothing at all for the other group, then it is quite possible that both groups survive. But Mr. Apostle Person did graduate on a full scholarship from the International Miracle Institute, so I must defer to his educational gravitas.
There's actually more evidence and more writings for Jesus Christ than there is for Julius Caesar. Okay, you have Tacitus, Pliny the Younger. You have texts all over the place. I have a list of a dozen extra biblical sources that talk about Jesus Christ. Okay, the only reason they argue that Jesus didn't exist is because if they admit Jesus existed, then you have to go back to the other question and say, okay, if Jesus really existed, he made all these claims. Is there any writings anywhere to disprove what he said was true? No. He made a lot of claims, Jesus. His disciples made a lot of claims about him. The miracles that he worked. Has there ever anybody, an eyewitness that said, no, I was there, that never happened? You won't find that documentation because it doesn't exist. So that raises that now these atheists are really in a quandary here.
Imagine that. No contemporary eyewitness evidence against someone for whom not a single eyewitness account of any kind exists. Nevertheless, with that bombshell, I feel all destroyed and exposed. I'm sorry. I need some time to regain my composure.
With every single Bible contradiction that they think they come up with, they're so smart, is easily proven as completely wrong.
Because all the atheists that say, I read the Bible, maybe an atheist, they're lying. 9 out of 10 times they are lying. And you know how to catch them in a lie? Ask them this. Ask them to show you one of the contradictions they say exist in the Bible. 8 out of 10 times, they will say, well, I don't know where it is, I just know it's in there.
Well, but I can, and easily. Matthew 27, 3 through 10, gives the account of Judas and what he did with the 30 pieces of silver. In this account, Judas regrets what he did and attempts to give the silver back. The priest refused the money. Judas then throws the money down and promptly hangs himself. The priests decide to use the money to buy a potter's field to bury foreigners in. Finally, the passage quotes a prophecy of Jeremiah, only Jeremiah made no such prophecy, nor is it to be found anywhere in the Old Testament or anywhere else. The closest passage to it is in Zechariah, not Jeremiah, chapter 11, and that is not even a prophecy. So the claim that Jeremiah made the prophecy is just plain wrong. Acts 1, 18 and 19 also mentions Judas and what he did with the 30 pieces of silver. No priests were involved at all. It is Judas, not the priest, that buys a field. No mention of a potter. He falls down, head first, and his guts spill out. These are very contradictory accounts. In one, Judas spends the money, in the other he throws it away. In one, Judas buys the field, in the other the priests buy the field. In one, Judas is dead when the field is bought. In the other, he is alive. In one, he commits suicide by hanging himself. In the other, he falls and his guts come out. So, though there are some minor points they agree on, these passages are extremely contradictory. I think we've had about enough of this apostle man prophet person, so just one final clip.
So my message tonight is don't let an atheist steamroll you with fake facts and everything else, because they're nothing but uneducated, lying trolls for the most part. The let live atheists, you probably won't even know they're an atheist, because, they don't need to scream, I'm an atheist, I'm an atheist, I'm an atheist. God ain't real, I hate God, God's not real, I can't hate somebody I don't believe in. Well, your actions say something different. You do hate God.
I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God. But I do believe there are hate-mongers and ignorance peddlers like the Apostle Rich who use belief in God to hurt people. So, in my own twisted way, I am trying to persuade others to be better humans than the likes of Rich Penkowski.